Hello, I am the Greek Geek because I'm 50% Greek and 100% a geek. As you might be able to tell by the title of this video, I am going to be delving into the more spoilerish aspects of Godzilla King of the Monsters. Now, the movie has been out for a few weeks now, but I wanted to make a separate video so my original review didn't go for too long. But before we go forward, I just wanted to say, if you're new to this channel, I'm a review channel that focuses mostly on superheroes, sci-fi, fantasy, monster movies, that kind of thing. So if that sounds like something that you might be interested in, consider hitting that subscribe button and notification bell if you want to stay up to date. And now, moving forward, obviously, spoiler warning. So if you're a big Godzilla fan like me, you are not surprised at all to see that Mothra dies in this movie. She does manage to almost take down Rodan, and that's a pretty good feat for her, but yeah, Mothra dies in like 50% of the movies that she's in, unfortunately. But moving on from that, we learn later on in the movie, towards the end, that there is another Titan egg, and I've learned that's confirmed to be a Mothra egg. So we're going to get another incarnation of Mothra in maybe even the next movie, or if they continue with this kind of cinematic universe, they might do another one down the line. So obviously there will be another Mothra Imago form later down the line. And Ken Watanabe's character, Ishiro Serizawa, also dies as well. He was like the only human character that I liked in this movie and in the previous one. And his death as he was detonating that atomic bomb in order to speed up Godzilla's recovery after fighting King Ghidorah, he sacrifices himself to detonate it. And it kind of made me think of Dr. Serizawa's sacrifice in the first movie when he activated the oxygen destroyer in order to kill the original Godzilla back in 1954 when the first Godzilla movie came out. And on the subject of oxygen destroyer, they actually have one in this movie. I wasn't expecting that at all. The military somehow came up with a weapon that just got rid of all the oxygen in the water, and in doing so, they accidentally almost killed Godzilla instead, and it had no effect on King Ghidorah. So human weapons, as usual, are pretty useless in a Godzilla movie. And still on the subject of deaths, Emma Russell, the lady character in the movie, she dies as well. Yeah, I didn't really care either. Oh, and how good was it when King Ghidorah and Godzilla actually fought 3 times in the movie as opposed to just once at the end of the movie. So, and I'm not sure if this happened in previous movies. Maybe someone who's more knowledgeable in Godzilla movies than me can let me know. But I didn't know that Ghidorah had the ability to regenerate heads. Like in I think it was the second fight with Godzilla. Godzilla tears off one of the heads of King Ghidorah, and then it's able to grow it back. Don't think that any previous incarnation was able to do that. I might be wrong. And the other Titans that were introduced were pretty cool as well, even though we didn't really get to see them that much. They were just like on screen for a few minutes or a few seconds in some cases, and we see the names of others on computer screens and mentioned in dialogue. Clunky, awkward dialogue. For example, we saw another Muto, which was a female because it doesn't have wings, and I think it was actually bigger than the previous Muto as well. So there was a Muto, there was another one called Scylla, which was a kind of spider-like titan. It kind of reminded me of Kumonga, which is just basically a giant spider that was in the Toho movies. Methuselah, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, probably not, knowing me, was just basically a giant turtle-like thing with a mountain on its back. Back when the trailers were released, I thought it might have been Anguirus, but then later learned they weren't doing any more Toho monsters. But this one's pretty cool, I guess. And finally, we get Behemoth, which is just a giant mammoth, essentially. So the monster designs, they weren't that imaginative, but I liked them for what they were. And Ghidorah was confirmed to be an alien titan. So it was an alien that came to Earth and essentially wanted to destroy the Earth and takes control of the other Titans to try and destroy the Earth. So that's another callback to Toho movies, because in most incarnations, Ghidorah was an alien. And in this movie, they learned that Ghidorah, or Ghidorah, however you want to pronounce it, is an alien, and no one seems to bat an eye at it, that there is alien life out there or whatever. They're just like, oh, cool, came from space, there's life out there, and they don't seem to care or be that interested. And the fact that Godzilla is an alpha titan makes me raise the question, why didn't Godzilla just use his alpha powers or whatever to control or tell the other 2 Mutos what to do in the previous movie? Or maybe he wasn't strong enough or mature enough yet, or maybe because the Mutos were a breeding pair and didn't care what he had to say, they just wanted to protect their nest or whatever and just breed, but I don't know. They probably didn't really think of that, what Godzilla was going to be an Alpha Titan in the previous movie. And another callback to Toho movies is when Godzilla had to be healed by that atomic bomb, and it works too well apparently and causes him to have kind of like a meltdown, which is kind of what happened to in, I think it was Godzilla versus Destroyer. That Godzilla, his heart, which essentially is an organic nuclear reactor, started going into meltdown, and that's kind of what happened in this movie as well. He kind of goes down to his burning Godzilla form and just starts emitting these radiation bursts and just burns absolutely everything. And that's how he defeats Ghidorah. But yeah, I think that's a callback to a previous form of Godzilla. And to set up the next movie, we hear that all the Titans, not just Godzilla, are making their way to Skull Island where King Kong is. So I'm thinking that King Kong must also be an Alpha Titan, and that's why Godzilla has to fight him for dominance. But it's not the fact that it's just Godzilla, that they're all going there. So I'm like, I wonder what's going to happen. If it's going to be some big monster royale, like with the Godzilla and his Titans fighting against King Kong and the other monsters and Titans that were on his island. That would be cool and just be escalating everything again. But essentially, I think that Godzilla and King Kong are going to fight each other, and then they'll become allies to fight a greater threat. Because I can't really see one defeating the other. I don't even know how King Kong would beat Godzilla based on how small he is. And I'm thinking, because in the end credit scene, if you did stick around for the end credit scene, we see Charles Dance's character, whatever his name is, Tywin Lannister, not really. He finds these fishermen, and the fishermen have got one of King Ghidorah's heads. And I'm like, oh, he's going to take it and he's going to do something with it. I'm not sure if he's going to use the DNA or genetic material or whatever to make his own kind of Titan, or somehow make the head regenerate its whole body or something. But something that's even more unlikely, I think, is that they'll do some kind of mecha Ghidorah, like they have done in previous movies, where a head got ripped off and they just made like a robotic body parts to replace the parts that got lopped off on a King Ghidorah. So I don't know if they're going to do that, because they don't really have the technology to do that. But then again, it's a Godzilla movie, and I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't be keen to see that. Those were just my spoilerish thoughts on Godzilla King of the Monsters. If there's something I missed or something that you found interesting, please comment below and let me know in the comments. As always, thank you for listening to me ramble on about a movie for a few minutes. I do appreciate it. Thank you again, and I'll catch you next time.